The Rap Lab, yeah. The Rap Lab, the Rap Lab. Let's go. The Rap Lab, the Rap Lab, the Rap Lab. Come see what we cooking up at. The Rap Lab, the Rap Lab, the Rap Lab. Ball for ball, we hooking up with TOQG, Rev Barber MC, ALFRE to the D on that MIC, A to Z. We be the flyers. Hip hop sound broke down to a science. It's the Rap Lab, the Rap Lab, the Rap Lab. Come see what we cooking up at. The Rap Lab, the Rap Lab, the Rap Lab, the Rap Lab.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is Bucky Majors from the Rap Lab podcast, and I just have one thing to say. Oh, I like it like that. She's working that back. I don't know how to act. Slow motion for me. Slow motion for me. Slow motion for me. Move it slow motion for me. In today's news, we have the wild world of Mason Betha. See, the names have all changed since he's been around. The game ain't been the same since he left out. And you have Wiz Khalifa versus the DJ. Last night, a DJ saved my life. It did not save his. Mystikal is in trouble. He would say it ain't his fault that he do that. If he did, beware of the man right here. Drag him through the river. And Mayor Adams said, he's the hip-hop mayor. The hip-hop, the hippie to the hip-hop, and you don't stop. For more about this, we go to our correspondents. Candyman, Red Barber MC, and QG. Back to you.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's Monday, so you know what that means. It's all new episode of the Rap Lab podcast. Shout outs to our news anchor, Bucky Majors, and it's your boy, the main man, the Candyman, the ALFRE to the D.
What up, what up? It's the one and only, the only one, the Red Barber MC. All caps, no spaces, baby.
It's the good doctor himself, the QG. Just call me the true G. Need your hip-hop fix? Come see me.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are discussing this week in hip-hop, the news, major headlines and stories going on. But first, as our correspondent Bucky alluded to, the wild world of Mase, which is very interesting. Mase earlier this week went on Twitter and said that he was in California driving through the streets and announced that he was going to sign to Death Row Records. Why is this important? Because Snoop Dogg has brought Death Row Records back to life. And even though Mount Westmore is the only official act signed to the label, Mase says that he's signing to Death Row Records and quote unquote, we gonna do the Tupac thing, whatever that means. QG, start us off. Your thoughts on Mase going to Death Row, and do you think it's real?
I find it very interesting with Mase going to Death Row because when you look back at that Bad Boy versus Death Row era, this is something you never would have expected. And now it's like things have come full circle. It's kind of interesting because, you know, remember what Suge Knight said at the Source Awards in 1995, and we are on the anniversary of that very award show where he said exactly what he said, which was interesting.
Any artist out there want to be an artist and want to stay a star and don't have to worry about the executive producer trying to be all in the videos, all on the record, dancing, come to Death Row.
But I don't know. I don't know if he's signing with Death Row. We haven't heard anything from Snoop Dogg. So after the Fivio Foreign thing and then squashing the beef with Cameron over the phone, Mase is very good at riding a wave. If he's in the news, he's going to ride that momentum. I hope he has a new single or an album coming out, because if he don't, this will all be for nothing. If he signs with Death Row, it'll be interesting to hear what him and Snoop Dogg could come up with as far as a song, because they've never worked together before. But I like to see it happen, just to see what kind of music that they come out with, because it's all to get back at Diddy. You know, I mean, you're going to sign to Death Row, and Death Row will always be synonymous with a rival towards Bad Boy Records and Puffy. Even though Snoop owns it, you can't change history.
That's very true. Rev, you're a pro East Coast guy. What do you think about Mase possibly going to a label with rich West Coast history? And do you think it's a lock, or do you think he's just talking?
Well, first of all, Mase needs to be careful because them goons will run him back to Atlanta. I actually believe the bigger story is what happened with him and Fivio, because Fivio is a bit more prominent, and I feel like with Mase and the death row thing, as QG said and we said off air, Snoop has not said anything about any of this, and I don't want to take it away from him because he's a good rapper. He actually ghost wrote for Nelly, wrote Nellyville, also Mariah Carey, Ariana Grande, Tiana Taylor, and a whole bunch of others, but he needs to be careful with running his mouth, even with the death row thing. But you could tell he still has a lot of hurt from the Puffy situation because he claims that he wants a new label and won't be dancing in the videos. And he shouldn't be too hurt because his catalog's about over 25 mil, I believe. He claims to give Fivio his publishing, though. $750,000 and claimed to give him back his 30% that he could have made from shows and appearances. But I think Mase is trying to be the anti-Puffy for real because he's trying to get a label, and it may be under death row, it may not, but I like the approach. I just don't like that he's coming off a tad arrogant and a little bit seeming like he wants attention. But I'm happy for him. He needs to be careful though, like I said, because he may rub some people the wrong way. Pause.
Well, Rev, you brought up Fivio, so QG, we didn't get to hear your thoughts on the Fivio thing. For those of you who don't know, Fivio Foreign has come out lately and said that Mase signed him to a crazy deal. A crazy deal that's now nowhere near in Fivio's favor, but Mase has rebutted and said no, he didn't rob him or cheat him. QG, what's your thoughts on Mase and the Fivio deal?
Well, Fivio Foreign came out first, and he mentioned about the contract that he signed, and according to Fivio, his production deal was a $5,000 in advance, and I'm going to quote him, verbatim. He said, the N-word that brought me to him, he was like, yo, man, just sign that shit. You bugging. I'm like, yeah, read it. He's like, all right, just sign it. It's good. So he just signed it. And he said this on the Gilly the Kid and Wallow podcast. He went on there first, and then Mase went on there and rebutted. But sticking with Fivio, he said he thought that shit was going to last until whenever it was going to last. He said the shit ain't last 2 weeks. And he says he don't like crying over spilled milk over money, but that's just where he's at. Now, Mase said on the same podcast that the advance was actually $750,000 that Rev just alluded to. He said he set up the deal where he could control the deal, make the deal what it should be, because if he had the leverage, he would go in there and sell both of us out, according to Mase. Then he was like, I went to the building and I took $800,000 and he took $700,000. And the reason why it went down to $700,000 is because when he gave him $750,000 and he took $750,000, he said Fivio owed him $50,000. So it's been a lot of back and forth as far as who owes who in that situation.
Yeah, and even Fivio was saying, Mase was saying that Fivio took his lingo, talk about when he says AAA on Big Drip. Credit, he wants credit for going viral.
Well, let me ask y'all, who do you believe? Do you believe Fivio with the $5,000, or do you believe Mase with the $750K, Rev?
Well, there is paperwork that Mase brought about, and Fivio is relatively a new artist in the game. I might have to go with Mase only because he provided the paperwork, but I like what Fivio is doing here. He actually took the Tell Me What You Want From Me sample and is doing a little song about it. He actually tagged Mase too on a post. I mean, I'm in favor of both guys. I hope they could situate this like some way, somehow, where we could get some kind of music, maybe from both of them. Because Mase he's a dope artist. I'm not going to take it away from him, but I got to roll with Mase on the technicalities here.
I agree with Rev. I'm rolling with Mase. And he provided a phone call from someone who brokered the deal at Columbia Records. This involves Columbia. He had the guy on the phone. He confirmed it. He has the paperwork to back it all up. So you can't debate evidence. He provided more proof. But shout out to Fivio. I hope everything works out okay. He has a song. So I hope both of them come out as winners in this.
As far as my opinions on this, I don't think he's coming home to death row. I don't think so, because usually when an artist signs something, usually the label announces it first, and then the artist will comment after. Or in the rare event the artist breaks the news, the label eventually will say something. Snoop has been radio silent. And the funny thing is, if you look at Snoop Dogg's social media, He's been posting his kids. He's been posting his wife. But nothing about Mase. Absolutely nothing. And for a big story like that, because Mase was a big artist in the late 90s. It's not like Mase is not an accomplished rapper, but you would have thought a high-profile signing like that, they would say something. And the other thing is, this is being reported by big news outlets. Double XL on their website is where I saw the link. So, they're a reputed news source. They're not gonna repost foolishness. As far as the Fivio thing, and I might catch a lot of heat for this, but you know me, I don't care. I think this is a case because, like I said, I believed Fivio up until Mase produced the evidence. Reason being is because Mase probably learned business practices from Diddy. And Diddy was, he's a ruthless businessman at the end of the day. However, I do honestly believe that now that he's produced the paperwork, Fivio, I hate to say it, but Fivio's literacy may be in question because if that man gave you 750 grand, how in the world could you think that was 5 grand? Whoever manages Fivio Foreign's money probably ganked him. So the guy who probably, because all these celebrities, they have people that handle their money for them. He probably told you that Mase got you 5 grand, but in reality, he got you to 750. And like I said, Mase not only provided the paperwork, but he got the guy from Columbia Records on the phone. So Mase ain't lying. And like you said, QG, you can dispute opinions, you can dispute he said, she said, but you can't dispute evidence.
Correct.
So, all right, as the Rap Lab news train is moving along, this one, gentlemen, allow me to address this first, only because this is like a hometown topic for me. But Mystikal, who has been one of my favorite rappers forever, going to jail. He's been arrested, charged with rape. And usually on this show, when it comes to a lot of things, I joke, I laugh, I say outlandish things, but I'm going to be serious on this one. Mystikal, back in 2004, went to jail for 6 years for false imprisonment, rape, sexual assault. At the time, he not kidnapped, but he locked his hairstylist in a room, forced her to give him oral sex, and assaulted her as well. You would have thought he learned his lesson. He came out of jail. He got even though he never put a song out, he got a record deal with Cash Money. He had been on the No Limit reunion tour. I saw him in concert with No Limit this past November in Nashville, Tennessee. And you would have thought, everything's good. People were happy to see him back up there performing with Master P and them, and then now this news comes out. And it bothers me because, all right, even though rape is not a mistake, people, and I'm not defending rape by any means when I say this, but in the course of life, everybody's entitled to a bad judgment or two. But when you do the exact same thing more than once, you didn't learn. People, and I firmly believe, depending on what you do, most things are worth a second chance. But it's hard to defend a guy when he does the exact same thing again and again and again. It's just like, if you're not gonna learn now, when will you ever learn? And I firmly believe in my heart that when he gets sentenced, unless he takes a plea deal, which I don't even know if they'll offer him, but when he gets sentenced again, because he's a repeat offender, they're probably gonna throw the book at him this time, because he got 6 years the last time. They may give this man 14, 20, however long, but I'm just really disappointed because he seemed to have been doing so well in the decade plus that he's been out. And everybody's already clamoring for a real No Limit tour because they're trying to get C Murder out of jail and all this other stuff. People thought Mac would have never saw the light of day. Shout outs to our good friend Mac Phipps, friend of the show, and Mrs. Phipps as well. And and some of these guys are dead. Soulja Slim, Mr. Magic, so on and so forth. But now as time goes on, Father Time is undefeated, and we may never see all of these guys in the same place at the same time because they're either dead or in jail. And this is a proven thing. DNA evidence doesn't lie. So, he's probably gonna go away for a very long time. And as somebody who was a fan of this guy, has 4 of his albums personally, I'm very heartbroken over this situation because, I love No Limit. I consider them my people, and I don't like to see my people go down. But when it's self-inflicted like this, and you knowingly make wrong decisions, I can't I don't know. Rev, I know you had something to say about this, so I'll give you the floor.
So pertaining to this case, he's been arrested for 5 charges, including domestic abuse, first-degree rape, battery, strangulation, false imprisonment, and simple criminal damage to property, and also simple robbery. Sorry. Mystikal accused this woman of stealing $100 from him. He supposedly then punched her, choked her, and then pulled her braids out when she denied stealing the money. He took her keys and prevented her from leaving, according to the young lady. Mystikal began acting erratically, yelling at her and then apologizing. It was said that he had asked the woman if he could feel her, and when she said no, he forced her onto the bed and raped her. This man clearly has a problem. In 2004, he pled guilty to a sexual battery after he and his security guards assaulted his hairstylist, as you mentioned. Did 6 years, like you said. Shortly after that, he was released and sent back to jail for violating his probation for assaulting his girlfriend at the time. 2017, he was charged with rape after an alleged assault at a casino. Eventually cleared of those charges. But again, 2019, pleaded guilty to simple kidnapping and was sentenced time served. Man, get this man off the streets and into a program. He done fucked up the No Limit reunion tour. He needs to start. He needs to tour some psych wards or something, cause this man clearly has issues. You further fucked up your rep, bro. You're 52 years old, bro. Chill out. Like, where's Master P at? Get this man some help, please.
I don't even think P could help him because, again, it's like it's a documented history, bro, and it's sad that he just doesn't learn. Like, and I'm gonna go on a limb here, and I think that when people say things like, you know, Master P get involved, like, they're all grown men at the end of the day, you know? Like, P can only do so much for everybody. P couldn't keep his own brother under control, and he got in situations he had no business in. So, you know, at the end of the day, everybody, you know, with life, we all got choices to make, and Mystikal just keeps making bad choices.
Yeah, I get it, but I don't want to hear that, oh, I should have did something, I should have did this, say this man gets beat up or killed in jail, because that happens all the time where it's like, oh, I should have stepped in, I should have did this, and, you know, P got a lot of power, and like you said, yeah, you know, you don't want to, like, kind of rely on someone else to, like, you know, take the lead and stuff like that, but this man clearly has a problem. He needs some kind of help, some kind of something. I don't know if P or his team and whoever is trying to talk to this man, but this is more than one occurrence that he's been dealing with kidnapping and raping women. I mean, maybe even distancing yourself could be like a sign of trying to get this man some help instead of putting money in this guy's pocket, because he clearly hasn't learned.
No, and it goes to similar to the C Murder situation, because before C Murder got hit on that murder charge, P kept telling him all the time, stop hanging out in the hood. Stop doing these shows at these hood clubs. Multiple conversations, and he didn't listen to him. Did what he wanted to do. But, you know, hindsight, but I do agree with you. You know, something does, like, let's say, God forbid, somebody kills Mystikal in prison, you know, then it'll always be, oh, I wish I should have. And, you know, we all do that because hindsight is a motherfucker. But, you know, QG, we haven't heard you chime in yet on this topic. Would you like to give an opinion?
I'd like to say something to Michael Tyler.
Uh-oh.
And this is seriously a genuine concern here. Michael Tyler, you are a registered sex offender. And your lawyer requested a $250,000 bond. And he maintains your innocence. And he went on to say, I just don't think that it's in Mr. Tyler's nature to do that. He said that Mystikal had been in a relationship with the alleged victim for over 2 decades. And he said that she hasn't previously accused him of any violence. He went on to say, we need to contact promoters and we need to let them know that he's not going to be available to do our best to mitigate the damage from this. He was denied bail, of course. And like you all mentioned earlier about, you know, the situation, the Ascension Parish Sheriff's Office responded to the report of the sexual assault. And it happened around midnight. And the woman suffered minor injuries. And the sheriff, Detective Garrett Keith, claimed under oath that the alleged victim entered Mystikal's Louisiana home on July 30th to have a conversation about the recent alleged business deal. And it's sad that this whole situation, I feel for this Young lady, I feel for all the victims. We at the Rap Lab, we don't like criminals. We hate criminals. And you, Michael Tyler, you are a criminal. You should be ashamed of yourself for what you've done and what you continue to do. You need to be off the streets. They got room for you at the booty house. You've been to the booty house. And the boys are going to make you grab your ankles. Justice will be served.
Well, I don't know. Like I said, I'm just disappointed and heartbroken. But moving on, Wiz Khalifa and club DJs. So not that long ago, Wiz Khalifa was performing at a club, and apparently his set at the club didn't go the right way. Apparently he had an outburst, including physically putting his hands on one of the DJs when he knocked his hat off. He later issued an apology. Rev, what is your thoughts on the Wiz Khalifa situation with the club DJs?
It's unfortunate because I feel like this is an isolated incident. Wiz gets a lot of love from the DJ, specifically DJ Drama. He actually had an interview with him alongside DJ Envy about the situation. And I'll give it to him. He was very sincere in his apology. No bullshitting. And again, he doesn't have a history of situations like this, unlike other artists. But Wiz claims that he and the DJ were having communication issues all night, where he was trying to go over song cues and lead-ins, and the DJ was having conversations over the songs and not paying attention, which pretty much, like you said, caused Wiz to smack the guy's hat off. And then he went on his rant, which was filmed. As someone who performed before with the DJ, it is very frustrating when your DJ misses cues and is lackadaisical. I could understand the frustration, but it's a double-edged position where all eyes are on him and every movement and reaction could get filmed. But especially now, since Wiz is off Atlantic Records, he's doing his own thing independently, so he needs the help of the DJ community. So this could hurt him, because he could use the extra promotion. But I feel like the DJ community, before becoming like some cancel culture dumbasses, should get both sides before jumping to conclusions, because he doesn't have a track record of being a hothead or occurrences like this. He's a stoner. He's super chill. And I feel like these DJs actually need to apologize because it's their fault for not being prepared. This club, whatever it's called, was advertising that this was a Wiz Khalifa album release party. But all in all, I'm glad cooler heads prevailed. I mean, so it seems. But shout out to Wiz. I just hope something like this doesn't happen again.
Well, let me ask you this, Rev. What do you think of Kid Capri? And we all love Kid Capri here, I would assume. What do you think of Kid Capri getting involved, saying that if he was the DJ that night and Wiz would have did that to him, it would have been a fight? Oh, please. Kid Capri, he needs to fight DJ Scratch instead of making rap songs about him or whatever happened that night in the verses. These old guys, like, you know, much respect doing everything. They have a right to their opinion. Even Wiz said it himself that these guys are entitled to be angry at him. But Kid Capri, come on, man. Like I said, got to hear both sides of the story, man. He's not a hothead. And once again, you know, Kid Capri, you could definitely have your opinions and feel how you feel, but just chill out, man. This is hip hop, man. We're a community here. We shouldn't be so quick to be going at people's heads so quick and be coming on some cancel culture or physicality, because obviously physicality is what got him in the news right now. So if you were to be physical with him, that's just going to make things even worse. All right, well, Rev is all about the peace tonight, folks. No. Wait till Eric's sermon. Uh-oh. But QG, your thoughts on Wiz and the DJs?
Yeah, Wiz was booked at the Poppy nightclub. The Poppy nightclub is in California, and he said he was booked to do...
Wait. Did you say the Poppy?
Poppy. It was the Poppy nightclub.
That's what it's called.
What a name. Continue.
Yeah. It was for his Multiverse album release party, and he said, you know, his set was supposed to be 5 songs, and all the songs were on a flash drive, and we all know about, you know, technical difficulties, and when it came time, it was just an issue with the timing. He tried to communicate with the DJ Mikey Danger, and things just was not going right. And it started to get more and more crazy. And other songs were playing in the middle of his songs. So, like Rev said, he's been on stage, he's performed. So just imagine when you're up there and you're performing your song, and then another song is playing while you're trying to do that one. It's gonna set you off. So
Yeah, that's mad annoying.
it's crazy. And Wiz, he apologized. He was sincere, and he said, "I was definitely out of line by touching the young man's hat and doing what some people said consider assaulting the DJ. That's not my character, and that's not how I handle things. It's not excusable. It's not defendable in any way, shape, or form." So he said he tried to get in touch with Mikey Danger afterwards. He wants to apologize to him personally, and he hopes that he's forgiven. It's just a misfortunate thing that happened. And I mean, shout out to Wiz, because he seems like a level-headed guy, a cool guy, and this is something that got him upset, and he reacted in that way.
So you think this is a one-off?
Yeah, it was just a one-off. I don't think this will happen again with Wiz. I think he's going to learn from this. Hopefully, him and Mikey can get in touch. And as far as Capri, I love Capri. Capri's my guy, and he should have just kept that to himself instead of going that hard with that. Because it's an isolated thing, like Rev said. Let those guys handle it and talk it out, and just move past it.
Yeah, no, I kind of agree. Like Rev said, he has no documented history of doing these things, So it could be a one-off, but then again, all it takes is the first time for a history to start as well. So I guess we just have to remain to see. But I get it, though. He was frustrated. He gave the guy the songs on the flash drive prior to the set, and it still somehow came messed up. So in Wiz's mind, I'm like, he's probably thinking, oh, well, I came prepared. How did they not get the job done when everything that they needed was provided to them? So I understand that. But, people do things in the heat of the moment, and, the apology was very sincere. So we just got to hope that he follows true on his word. But moving on to our last news item of the night. New York City Mayor Eric Adams is going around lately calling himself the hip-hop mayor because he has donated $2.5 million of his own money toward the opening of the Universal Hip Hop Museum. For those of you who are no strangers to the Rap Lab podcast, when LL Cool J, Nas, and Mayor Adams broke ground on the location of where they were going to build the museum, we did cover that, and we gave our opinions on it. That episode is in the archives as well. But yeah, Mayor Adams says he's the hip hop mayor. He went in a press conference and claimed that he's excited for the hip hop museum to open. He's excited for people to learn the culture of the city, as he said. But Mayor Adams has had a lot of critics throughout the time that he has been the mayor of New York City. Do you believe he is the hip hop mayor? Do you believe that the museum should have taken his money? Rev, we'll start with you first.
Oh man, I really hate getting political because it causes a divide and separation between us and our community, which it shouldn't be. And people are more than entitled to their beliefs. And if you got me on Instagram, yes, sometimes I dabber into that, but that's my personal Instagram. I try to, as a wise man once said, I'm here just for the hip hop. But I'm gonna provide some stats to defend my stance, and don't worry, I'm gonna keep it short and sweet. Like I said, I'm just here for the hip hop. But fuck it, let's get funky, and I'm gonna save a little something for later since we at it. So crime in New York City has increased 31% since last year, and at 7.6%, the city's unemployment rate is amongst the worst in major cities. Police are quitting and retiring in record numbers. More than 1,500 NYPD officers have either resigned or retired. So this year is on pace to be the biggest withdrawal of any registered year. This guy seems like he wants to be mayor for status and not really to help the community, in my opinion, from what I've seen. He's more interested in being a celebrity, and I feel like he's trying too hard to be seen. He's out here missing jump shots, trying to cut hair, going to parades, and botching the Spanish language. You're not a hip-hop mayor, especially if you're opposed drill rap. Like, it is a part of our culture. You may not like it, but it is our culture. Man, like I said, I'm going to keep it short and sweet. So I just ask the people to do better as well, because when election time rolls around, just take 30 minutes out your day, one day. just to research the candidates and make a wise, real decision, not based on any parties, pressure from the outside sources, including myself, because you wanted this guy, so you got him.
Okay, well, let me ask you, how do you feel about the money? I mean, the fund for the museum is at $5 million. Him chipping in 2.5, he's giving half the money. You got to give him some type of credit because that's helping to, educate the people that come after us and educate the people before us and the people that are with us that don't know anything about rap.
We had an offline conversation about this, like, kinda, and I'm gonna stick to it. Keep your fucking money, bro. We'll get the money from someone else. Jay-Z should be providing this money, or someone like within our realm. Not this guy who's pandering to us, trying to get approval. Yeah, it's a nice donation, and it's gonna get people like, oh man, what a great guy. He's supporting hip hop. Nah. I see through all of that. Keep that money, bro. Keep that dirty money. I don't know where that money's coming from.
So you think this is just a move for him to get votes when it's time for re-election?
I wholeheartedly believe it is. I don't think if I was a gambling man, I'd bet the house on it.
Okay, QG, what about you? What do you think about Mayor Adams and his $2.5 million donation to the Universal Hip Hop Museum? Fake or for real?
Keeping it strictly hip hop, you need a hip hop artist to be a hip hop mayor. Eric Adams said that he declared himself hip hop mayor. He said that in his speech. And the museum, the grand opening is scheduled to be in 2024. And he said it right then and there. First time in New York City history, we have a hip hop mayor. And he said that while he was standing next to Russell Simmons, Laurie Combo, who is the New York City Department of Cultural Affairs Commissioner. And he went on to say, we have the power now where we can use the experience of these men and women here to reform how we use music to educate our children. To not only build this project, but to make sure the young people on this project don't have a steel gun, but a steel hammer so they can be a part of the construction. I'm saying to my brothers and sisters in the industry, we want to be your partners. You laid the blueprint that we're following. Too many of us have been singing off key. Now we have to have universal rap that we all have to say together. So this is only the beginning, and I'm proud to be the mayor at this time. He said, thank God Bill de Blasio didn't open this museum. No hate on him, but this is my museum. I should be opening it. That sounds so cringy to me. And we've seen people come before. We've seen business owners. We've seen people try to change the direction of rap. You had your C. Dolores Tuckers, you had your Warren Buffetts, you had your Calvin Butts, you had all these people try to dictate rap and to say how it sounds. If you don't come from hip hop, you shouldn't say what's hip hop. And I'm not saying anything to diss the mayor, but I'm saying know what you're talking about. Understand what this culture is. Just because you were raised in the streets, just because you were from the neighborhood, that doesn't mean you get the music. The music is what it is. You have to be a part of it in order to understand it. Now, I'm all for hip hop. I'm all for education. I'm all for the kids. I'm all for people learning and the preservation of the culture. But don't try to come in it and say that you're this. Well, we can clearly see that you are not it. You can't fool us or hoodwink us. You have to be from hip hop in order to say you're hip hop. You could be a fan, but that doesn't make you hip hop's mayor. If I'm voting somebody to be hip hop's mayor, I'm picking a rap artist to be hip hop's mayor because this person knows hip hop. So I cast my vote for LL Cool J. My opinion.
That's a good one.
See, and here's my thing, right? Now, I firmly believe that, because his approval rating is low, this is a political move to, appeal to the hip hop community, the young community, because I feel like you can't be a hip hop mayor and criticize, because even though drill rap, I'm not the biggest fan of it, it's still a part of hip hop. What are you going to do? Like, not have a section for Pop Smoke somewhere in there? Like, granted, maybe in 10, 20 years when time has gone on and we see his influence, but, you can't diss a part of hip hop and then call yourself a hip hop mayor. But yet, I understand he's gonna say, oh well, I've eaten lunch with Fat Joe and hung out with Nas and this and that, and and I was in the Supreme Team documentary. But like I said, you can't diss something and then want to take credit for it, because yes, I understand he gave 50% of the funds to this museum. So without him, this museum wouldn't be as far along in the construction as it would be now if he didn't give that money. But at the same time, it's just like dude, like you dissed a part of the culture. So I have mixed feelings, because I'm grateful that he gave the money, because again, there are people who are our age that don't know as much as the three of us know. There are people before our time that are ignorant to what we know and love, and then there are the young kids who refuse to listen to or don't have the music before their time available to them. So this is a good spot to learn. So I have mixed feelings. I don't personally care for Eric Adams, because instead of going to the Met Gala and hanging out with Rihanna and everybody else, he should be trying to curb the city's crime problem. But at the same time, whether you want to admit it or not, fellas, political agendas aside, he did do a positive thing for hip hop by giving $2.5 million to the museum that the three of us probably will check out at some point in time after it's open. So, but my question is, does it stop at the donation? That's what I want to know. Once the museum is open, is he going to have any involvement with it? That remains to be seen. I guess we'll see in time. But I don't know. I got mixed feelings, because I don't personally like the guy nor care for him. I hate what he said about the music, but at the same time, it's like, sometimes actions do speak louder than words. So, because like Rev said, Jay-Z could have given the money. We could have got this money from somewhere else, but look who's the one who actually gave the money. So that's just a little food for thought. For those of you out there who might have a different opinion than the three of us, email us, raplabpod@gmail.com, or hit the Instagram or Twitter, raplabpod. But furthermore, new segment coming around. Every time we do the news, we'll just take 60 seconds, each of us, to speak our minds on something that may or may not be necessarily rap related. QG, we'll start with you first. You got 1 minute. Talk to the people about whatever you want.
34 years ago this month, August 6th of 1988 to be exact, MTV premiered the first episode of the hip-hop generated video show Yo MTV Raps, created by the late film director Ted Demme. Yo MTV Raps aired for the first time on August 6, 1988. The show was originally hosted by Fab Five Freddy, who was later joined by Dr. Dre and Ed Lover. The first music video ever shown on that show was Eric B. and Rakim's Follow the Leader. The show's scenarios, special guests, live performances, and other exclusive footage, historical moments such as the breakup of leaders of the New School and the infamous head scratch of Craig Mack when Puff Daddy announced his second album, it helped spread hip-hop across the globe with the help of MTV Europe, MTV Asia, and MTV Latino. The series finale aired on August 17th, 1995, with an unforgettable freestyle session. But that wasn't the end. The show officially returned May 24th of this year, exclusively on Paramount Plus, hosted by DJ Diamond Cuts and battle rap punchline king and Wild 'N Out performer Conceited. Hip hop will always live.
Nice. All right, I guess I'll take my 60 seconds. I just want to give a shout out to a young man by the name of Matthew Webb. He's 23 years old. He was a McDonald's employee who this past Monday was murdered over an argument started between himself and a customer. When a customer went to McDonald's, purchased French fries were cold, and she asked for new fries. She was not given she was given a couple of new fries on top of the old fries. She didn't like that. She thought people were joking around with her, and she felt offended, so she called her son. Her son comes to the McDonald's, escalates the argument, and then shoots poor Matthew and ends up killing him. We got to do better as a people. And similar to the situation with Jose Alba, for those of you who know about that situation, where the young lady goes into the corner store, her EBT card gets declined for a bag of chips. So she decides to call her boyfriend to come handle the problem, and her boyfriend dies because the store owner killed him in self-defense. We got to stop escalating situations. If you get in a minor argument, walk away, because so many of these types of situations can be prevented. Like, and I'm not one for destruction, but curse the people out, knock stuff over, throw something at them. But don't call somebody who's not involved in the situation to come where you are and handle people, because when you do that, you're escalating the situation. When you call people that are not involved to get involved, nothing good will ever come of that, because you're escalating the issue. And we need to do better. And it's unfortunate that this young kid lost his life because a lady couldn't handle the fact that she got cold French fries. It's disgusting, and we as a people need to do better. Without further ado, Rev doesn't get 60 seconds, but he gets an edition of Eric's sermon. So, Rev, take it away.
Joy to the world, my people. It's another segment, Eric's sermon. And I asked the listener this: do y'all listen to The Breakfast Club? Do y'all like David Bowie? Do y'all like to wear Led Zeppelin shirts? If you do any of these things, listen to this. Jimmy Page from Led Zeppelin married a 14-year-old girl when he was 28. David Bowie was 22 when he took the virginity of a 14-year-old. Charlemagne the God pleaded guilty to a charge of contributing to the delinquency of a minor. According to the girl, witness testimony, and police reports, she and her unnamed friend were given some sort of liquid that tasted like soda by Charlemagne. Both girls blacked out. Then the girl's friend woke up to find herself being kissed by a strange man. The staff at a nearby hospital confirmed the assault after examining her. Police conducted a thorough investigation, arresting Charlemagne, as he was assigned 3 years of probation after the witness didn't cooperate. Now, we know about R. Kelly and now Mystikal. So, if we're canceling R. Kelly, then we're canceling Mystikal and not listening to make him say or shake that ass, or we're not listening to The Breakfast Club or wearing Led Zeppelin shirts that most people never have heard of, not even a song. Probably saw Drake or somebody wearing a t-shirt and just want to bite. My point is, this cancel culture shit is crap. Now y'all bully Beyonce, who I'm not the biggest fan of, to change her lyrics because she used the word spaz. And she's corny for doing so, because she let them think they got some sort of power. Y'all just so wimps behind keyboards, man. She's obviously doing it for the money, not the awareness. Nothing against people with cerebral palsy, I swear. But I personally never heard this term before, correlating it with them or their behavior. I don't think this term came from a response to their medical condition that they're dealing with. Because personally, when I've heard this term, I heard it on the basketball courts when you're playing against someone with no mechanics, and they just, as I say, spaz into the rim. Or if you're about to go crazy on somebody. It's not like she said it directly at somebody with this condition. She used the word artistically to describe how she'd handle the situation. Y'all gotta stop trying to muzzle the entertainment. Y'all need to be a bit more open-minded. As long as they're not deliberately disrespecting folks, it's all entertainment. Y'all keep this shit up and they gonna replace bullets with friggin' butterflies in movies. Y'all ruining normalcy in our outlets. Just change the damn song and don't support the artist then. Are we not allowed to separate the personal from the entertainment? I know what R. Kelly did is completely wrong. And again, I'm not a fan of this man's music. It ain't for me, but he's probably one of the best singers of our time. Wedding songs, graduation songs, and many memories and good times has been provided through his music. And I ain't talking about any of the foul shit. When I hear I Believe I Can Fly, I don't think of none of that. And again, it's wrong what he did, but y'all will vote for your mans who's on video sniffing little kids, telling their parents they should leave them with them. It's on footage. And I ain't vote red either, so don't put me in that box. But I have a brain, and I exercise my independence, and I chose someone who I believe in, not who I was bullied to choose. Shout out to Miss J. Simmons. Think for yourselves. Don't let the internet and people who are sinners just like you dictate what you do and listen to for your entertainment and your enjoyment. You want to support artists musically, fine. As long as you're not standing behind the bullshit when they do and whatever it is they do on the outside. And again, it's wrong. But if we're canceling one, we need to cancel them all. And I don't think y'all ready for that. For real. Holier than down motherfuckers. Peace, I'm out, man.
Ladies and gentlemen, that was Rev's sermon. Food for thought. Food for thought. But fellas, QG, you got anything you want to say before we sign off?
Certainly. Hope everybody enjoyed this week's episode. Get ready for next week because we're going to do originals versus remixes. You guys are going to enjoy that. Please email us with suggestions, comments at raplabpod@gmail.com. Please check out our social medias. Check out the Rap Lab Pod page on Instagram. Check it out on Facebook. Check it out on Twitter. Exclusive content. Check out our YouTube page with all the videos and all the content and everything you guys enjoy. We appreciate everybody out there listening. Check us out.
Yep. So you heard the man. We will be reading a couple of questions on air. So if you know any songs that have remixes, tell us about it. Which do you think are better, the original or the remix? So that'll be next week's episode. And just want to give a shout out to our new editor, Omari Phillips, who will be chopping this up and bringing it to y'all. So shout outs to the young boy. Also want to give a shout out to my main man, Tawazi, and our good friend from the All Even podcast, Mr. Barry Grant Jr. So with that being said, this is another episode of the Rap Lab, and we'll catch y'all next week.
You're now tuned into the Rap Lab podcast. Yeah, the Rap Lab, the Rap Lab, yeah, the Rap Lab, Rap Lab, Rap Lab, Rap Lab, man. The Rap Lab, yeah, the Rap Lab, the Rap Lab. Let's go. The Rap Lab, the Rap Lab, the Rap Lab. Come see what we cooking up at the Rap Lab. The Rap Lab, the Rap Lab. Ball for ball, we hooking up with TOQG, Rev Barber MC, ALFRE to the D on that MIC, A to Z. We be the flyers. Hip hop sound broke down to a science. It's the Rap Lab, the Rap Lab, the Rap Lab. Come see what we cooking up at the Rap Lab, the Rap Lab, the Rap Lab.